Good morning. This is Brian Etchison, VP of Carrier Capacity, BCB Transport, coming to you from Mansfield, Texas. Today's show is going to be approximately 1 hour long, and we're going to go over a lot of neat stuff today. Some of the things we're going to do, first of all, we're going to have a short overview from our owners, kind of give you an idea how BCB got started. Next, we're going to have a testimonial from one of our top drivers, so you can kind of get an idea about our safety culture and how we operate operationally. Then after that, we're going to review our safety culture and our results with our director, one of our directors at BCB for safety. After that, we'll take a look at our equipment for comfort and safety, what you could expect, and that will be John Pelotti. Then we'll have a short testimonial from another one of our successful drivers, and then we're going to take a look at how our operations makes you successful here at BCB, and we'll close with a Q&A and give you some time to ask the questions that you might want to ask to find out a little bit more about our company. But before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and take us right to our owners for a quick overview of our company.
I am Rick Larkin, co-owner of BCB Transport, co-founder of BCB Transport. BCB is located in Mansfield, Texas. We started with a vision back about 11 years ago. Big Blue, Brian Brzezowski, and myself, we came to the conclusion one day that it was time to start our own trucking company. So we began with 0 drivers, 0 trucks, nothing. And here we are today at nearly 300 tractors. BCB Transport today runs freight for FedEx, for Whirlpool. We run it for Dart, for Solo Cup, for Train Industries, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's. Our customer base is very broad, and nobody really has more than 10% of our business today. So BCB Transport has expanded in many ways. We've purchased some companies. We've opened up operations in Colorado, Oklahoma City, Carlisle, Pennsylvania. We are always looking for the right opportunity. Although we're a trucking company, what we really do is safety. It stands for be safe, communicate, be on time. Orientation at BCB Transport is really getting our drivers in here to get them to understand what we value. And number one, we're going to place value on on life. We're going to place value on the lives of our drivers. It takes a minute to understand that, but we're also going to bring them in and teach them how to use the electronic log, to teach them how to be successful. We know that drivers know how to be successful, but it's also important for them to learn how to be successful here at this company.
My name is Brian Brzezowski with BCB Transport. I'm a co-owner. BCB Transport is a trucking company that transports reefer and dry freight all over the continental U.S. We have brokerage, we have warehousing, and additional services, air, truck, train, plane, we got it. Some of the challenges I would say was, hiring drivers, retaining good customers, getting good customers. And how we got past that? Well, we've put more qualified people in place. We got salesmen now with 50 years of experience. We have a recruiter that has 25 years of experience that leads our organization on that side. So we put the right people in the right places to overcome challenge. For the operations side, on the trucking side, would be Scott Shapiro. He does all the trucking operations. Matt McClister does all the brokerage operations. Ed Eldridge and Jesse Rodriguez are our top salesmen. Brian Etchison leads the way with the recruiting. David Schumann is in the EDI department, heading that up. Shelly Brown in HR leads that department. And Rick and myself oversee all the operations from there.
I really enjoy the atmosphere that we have. It truly is a family company. It's our drivers, our office. Survival.
The safety culture of the company I work with is the strongest safety culture that I have seen in all the trucking companies I've been involved with and all the trucking companies I know about. In this company, it's very different. They have a show that they put on twice a day. It's interactive, and you can play off of one another. Each of the drivers can ask questions, they can make comments. The topics are different, and usually they have a theme for the week that they're going through. So the live aspect of the show, I think, is what makes the culture of this company very different. They're talking about things that you are able to participate in if you choose to do so. All you have to do is press a button on your phone, raise your hand, and they'll call on you.
Hey, good Monday morning. Welcome to Safety Struck, coming to you live from Studio A of beautiful BCB Terminal.
The first wave moved through Kansas City. We put this in motion. You can see it's all kind of moving straight, almost at a nice 45 south.
It's imperative that, if we see the trailer 3 to 4 weeks out, give us a call.
Hey, welcome back. As you can see, we talk a lot about safety here. We are excited about safety. And speaking of safety, I have Dale Kellen here with me, our Director of Safety. And we're going to talk a little bit about our safety culture. Dale, how's BCB doing in meeting the CSA requirements out there?
Brian, it is so much fun to be here. And thanks for having me here because I love talking safety. BCB is safety. We got a great culture. How are our CSA scores? You know what? I've worked with a lot of companies. Ours are probably the best scores I've ever seen. But we don't rest on that. We continue to challenge ourselves to go down. Each score has a threshold. We're not even close to any threshold. We're less than half of any threshold. So that gives us really great scores. The other thing is ISS score, which is your inspection selection system. Mm-hmm. When you have good scores, that score ISS is down and means drivers don't have to get pulled in as often. Right. So our scores are great. We're doing wonderfully. But again, with our culture, we don't just rest on it. We continue to strive to improve.
Right. I know we talk to independent contractors, company drivers, and especially the independent contractor. They're very concerned about time on the road. Yep. Time is money to them. And probably one of the coolest things that I always like to share is, when you have a good safety score, you're not going to get pulled in near as much, and you're not going to be using up some of that valuable time you could be using on the road.
Yep. And that is also true. But the on the flip side of that, if you do get pulled in, and they're going to get pulled in, I mean, right. It's just a random a lot of times, you get that clean inspection. And man, we get a lot of clean inspection. BCB is going to pay you for that. Right. And that's the way it should be, because that time is money. You're taking the time to do your pre-trips, post-trips, getting your equipment taken care of. And so when you do get pulled over, if you do get pulled over, you get that inspection, you get that clean inspection, we pay you for it. We want to compensate you for that time.
That's awesome.
I like that. It's one of the best things about it.
Well, next question for you, Dale. What does this safety result mean to the company, and what does it mean to the driver who's working at BCB, considering joining BCB?
Oh man, Brian, that's so many facets. I mean, but the biggest thing is CSA scores. Everybody said, well, insurance isn't supposed to use them. They do. Insurance companies look at it. That's how they base your rates.
Right.
You got good scores, your rates go down. Companies that want to use you or you want to go to work for, you take your scores and say, hey, here's what our safety looks like. That's important to companies. They want to use carriers with good safety ratings. They don't want to.
You make a great point, Dale. I know one of the things when we talk to the owner operators on basically our insurance costs, they're amazed of the low rates we have here. And how that really directly impacts their bottom line.
Yeah, and it does. And so, I mean, that's part of the reason it's important. It's important to our customers. It's important to us because that's how we get the good freight. That's how we keep the freight out there, is because they want to continue to use safe carriers. We're one of the safer ones out there, so we'll get to do that. And that just gives us more freight, more choices for the drivers that come on board here to pull.
Right. Let me ask you this. Tell us a little bit about Safety Struck and how it all got started and how it influences our drivers, our company, and our culture. But you got time to talk.
I got time to talk.
You got time to talk.
Okay, well that's good. Safety Struck. It started before I came here. Okay, yes. So it's running. It's a Zoom call and driver participation. Oh man, what it means to the company, what it means to the company and to the drivers is, one of the regulations Federal Motor Carrier says is you have to have safety needs with your driver. It fulfills our ability to have those safety needs with drivers. But it's not just us preaching to them.
more than that,
Brian.
isn't it?
It is. It goes both ways. They can raise their
Right.
hands. They can call in. They can email, whatever they want, and we get to address that. And when they call in and share what's happening out on the road with us, making it better and safer for the drivers that are going that direction or whatever, makes it better. So it's an interactive. It is the most interactive safety meeting you'll ever see, because if you think about it, it's really a safety meeting. It's improving the culture, safety culture, not only for BCB, but the safety culture for the drivers. And Brian, I'm going to tell you, I've been in this business a long time, as you have.
Yes.
I can say a lot of things. I have a lot of knowledge, but not near as much as all our drivers have out there. And so when a driver calls in and shares his experience or his knowledge about safety with other
Right.
drivers,
Right.
it's invaluable,
Right.
because they're living it. They're driving every day. They're doing it on a minute by minute
Right.
basis. And so I think that's probably one of the biggest bonuses from having a BCB Safety Struck show. The other thing is it gives us the ability to share other departments with them.
Right.
What's going on within the company? What's the hotspot? Birthdays, anniversaries, everything that goes with it, Brian.
Mhm.
Everything that makes, because safety, we want drivers to be engaged. Okay,
Right.
so we have to have an engaging show, but we also want to let them know what's going on in our company. So if they have questions or
Right.
something changes, why is that? And it gives them that opportunity, that venue on a daily basis.
Right. Right. An old mentor once said to me, Brian, belief finds the means to do the job. And I can't help but think, on this show,
Mhm.
on this Safety Struck show, when they hear from some of the other drivers that they work with out there, and the success stories and the results that they're getting, and they have to start developing their own belief system. Say, hey, I can do this too.
Yep, absolutely. The drivers that participate on the Safety Struck show on a regular basis are some of our safest drivers. So anytime they have a driver that's struggling and they're not participating, we encourage them, hey, get on there. And there's safety bonuses based off of it.
Right.
I know, I love that, because that's what bonuses should be based off of: safety. Well, I'm a safety guy, of course, I'm gonna say
Right.
that.
Sure.
But it's not about productivity. It's about safety. Yes, we want them productive because that's how you make money, but we
Mhm.
also want them to be safe because that's how the company makes money. Company makes money, drivers make money, everybody's happy, it stays in
Mhm.
business. And so, we have drivers that, are struggling. We get them to watch the Safety
Mhm.
Struck show, and, they
Yes.
become some of the biggest advocates. Once they really tune in and start grasping what the safety culture is about, it's not safety sitting up here preaching to you, telling you how to do it.
Right.
It's industry standards. I mean, we get guests on Safety Struck all the time,
Right.
from the industry, insurance, ex-DOT, ex-state troopers, stuff like that share their knowledge, what's going on, firsthand stuff. And then we talk about topics that are coming up, whether it be, Brake Safety
Right.
Week coming up. And we start
Right.
giving that heads up and start getting the drivers thinking about it. And the
Mhm.
beautiful thing is, then the drivers start calling in and saying, hey, what about this? Let's look at this.
Right.
And so it's just such a beautiful venue.
Well, I can't. There's something else that's kind of cool here. I've noticed that really, truly, operations and safety are both aligned together
Yes.
on this objective.
Yeah. I've worked with a lot of companies where it's like this.
Yes.
Here it's like this. I mean,
Yes.
it's a handshake. They do work together. DMs are not afraid to come in and say, hey, you got a driver that's going to be this. Can you take a look at his hours of service or his logs and tell me what you think we can do this and stuff like that? Man, Brian, that's going above and beyond, because be safe, communicate, and if possible, be on time. And so
If you can.
Yeah, that's right.
If you can.
If
Yes.
you can. And so for them to come in and start talking to safety, or for us to go out and talk to them and say, hey, here's what's happening, here's what's going on, and help them to be successful, to help
Right.
them be on time if they can, whether it's weather, traffic conditions, or whatever else is going on. The interaction is just top shelf here between departments.
Yeah. Also, I know one of the things we share with our drivers, when we're talking to them on the front end coming in, we share with them, hey, if you get a load that's late, or it's assigned to you late. I mean, that's trucking sometimes, and unfortunately, but
Yep.
you know what? Our operations team, hey, there's no pressure. We just want you to get there safe.
Yeah.
You cannot make up time.
No, you cannot. And you just you have to make time good. You can't worry about making good time. I mean, you have
Right.
to make time good, and by that we mean
I like
by doing
that.
doing it safely. Not getting in a hurry, practicing that patience. So many times we think we're gaining so much when we're speeding or rolling a stop sign or doing
Right.
something that know is a little unsafe or thinks a little,
Right.
but you're really not gaining that time, Brian. You gain so much more time by doing it the patient way, the right way. And at the end of your day, you're much more relaxed and you feel better.
And we've talked, both me and you have talked about many of the safety initiatives that are out there, especially when we talk. I know we talk a lot about owner operators and attracting them to our company. But one of the things Dale, me and you've looked at this several times. The various safety initiatives that are in place actually help the owner operator make more money.
Yes.
I mean, they improve their fuel economy by practicing, by having good, safe practices.
Yeah. Not worrying about getting there, but worrying about getting there safely. And doing that a lot of times, Brian said, about increasing your fuel economy. Simplest thing to increase your fuel economy is slow down.
Slow down, yes.
Slow down. You're still going to get there.
Yes.
And you're going to make more money because you haven't spent it on the fuel. It's not going out that tailpipe.
Right. And then we also, I know we put a big emphasis on space management. And when you have good space management, Del, one of the things about that is you don't have to apply your brakes. And every time you apply those brakes, you're paying for you're wasting fuel that you've already paid for.
That's it. Burning that energy up.
That energy up. And you know what? When you have to slam on those brakes, sometimes you're forced to change lanes. Well, when you change lanes and it's on impulse, that's not a good deal.
No.
A lot of times that doesn't work out very well.
No, it doesn't. So, yeah, you said we concentrate a lot on just the safe things. That following distance is so important because, in today's world, distracted driving is real. We all know that. We see it every day with the four-wheelers, and sometimes even with the big trucks. But that space allows you, if somebody is distracted and does something stupid, and they will, that space allows you to have more time to react to it more safely, where you don't have to slam on those brakes, where you have the time to make those good decisions. Goes back to that Smith system, just doing it the right way, time after time.
Right. When we first started this safety struck initiative, and I can't help, Rick Larkin was just really focused on this, like nobody's business. But one of my old mentors, he once said, Brian, doubt finds reasons not to succeed, while belief finds the means to do the job. And I can't help but think that's Rick, on this safety initiative, and something that's has already happened. We talked about our DOT preventable accidents.
Yep.
Talk about a little bit about what's going on there.
Right now we track, and one of the things, it's fun to share with the drivers because they're the ones that are doing it on a daily basis. We track about 5 different streaks, accident streaks. Mm-hmm. And one of them we track is DOT preventable accidents. When's the last time we as a company's been in a DOT preventable accident? It's 240 some days right now.
I believe that breaks a record, doesn't it?
It does break a record. It was 233, and we've blown past that record, and we're at 240. I think it's 244, and pardon me for not bringing it in. But,
right.
But that just goes to speak to our drivers' ability in their care and their conscientiousness about doing it the safe way, about being on time, being safe, communicating, being on time if you can.
Right.
It's no accident that our streak is where it has and continues to grow. Have we had some DOT? Yes. Where somebody else is.
So it's no accident that we've had no accidents.
It's no accident. We've had no accidents. Preventable accidents. Because like I said, we've had a couple out there that where they rear-ended us.
Sure.
There's not much you can do in a rear-end accident.
Right.
And I'll talk about that. Drivers say, well, I worry about the people behind me. As a driver, you can only control the situations that you can, and that's in front of you. That space in front of you is something you can absolutely control.
Amen. Yeah.
And that's what you have to control. You have to own that space between you and the vehicle in front of us. If somebody else is tailgating, so now we don't have to worry as much about the hard brakes and slamming on your brakes. So if somebody's tailgating you, now the chances of them rear-ending you go down. And so, it just works. It snowballs. Safety just feeds off of itself. You do things safe, other things get safe. It's like, and drivers, you see the aggressive drivers out there every day. When you start engaging an aggressive driver, other vehicles around you start getting that feeling too, and they start getting aggressive. The same works in reverse. When you are polite, patient, and courteous to other drivers, they do that to others. All you got to do is watch merge points and see how it's going to see if you have aggressive drivers at it or if you have the polite, patient ones. When it's polite and patience at a merge point, it goes a lot smoother and a lot faster.
If I'm correct here, also safety pays here. You want to talk a little bit about that, how they can make money with safety?
Oh man, well, we already talked a little bit about, slowing down and fuel economy. But safety pays here because we have the safety bonus, and it's based off of, a lot of it is based off of, one, watching Safety Struck, because we want you to get your daily dose of safety. Yeah. Okay, we're on twice a day, 5 days a week, and on Saturdays and Sundays once. So you have plenty of opportunities to get in. So if you want,
click a link, right?
There you go.
It's that simple. Click a link.
18 times a month, 3 months in a row, that's your quarter. Then you get a quarterly safety bonus, provided that, and drivers, you all understand this, if it's a safety bonus, provided you don't have any major HOS violations, dirty roadside inspections. And you know what?
Right.
If you're doing your pre-trips, post-trips, those dirty roadside inspections, chances aren't going to happen. And so, it's those things. You still have to operate safely, but if you tune into Safety Struck, you get more of a culture. It just feeds off of itself. All of a sudden, it's not a chore, or it's not hard to tune in, because you want to tune in. You want to get what's going on with it. And we also do it a weekly. There's a weekly one also where, if they watch it 8 times a month, and then that one pays every week, 4 weeks in arrears.
And really, that's just a participation trophy.
Yeah, that's just participation.
Yeah.
But the part is the drivers participate, we all get better.
Right.
We all get better.
You can't help but get better.
That's it.
Yes. And listening to others around you succeed and do well can do nothing but make you better.
Yep.
Oh man, Dale, that's awesome.
I'm going to share a story about one of the
ahead.
ICs. Is when we first, and I won't use his name, when we first started here, he was always in a hurry, always speeding. Talked to him about some of his safety scores, following his things, and we had a good heart-to-heart conversation. He said, "Okay, I'm hearing what you're saying." Went out there and lowered his speed. He said, was always 3 to 4 over. I'm going to lower it to the speed limit, or 3 to 4 lower.
Right.
A month later, he calls me. He says, "Man," he says, "you can't believe the difference it made." He said, "Not only in fuel economy," he said, "but Dale," he says, "you're right." He says, "At the end of the day, I'm not as stressed."
Right.
Because I'm not pushing it. I'm still getting there, still getting my miles. And Brian, we look at a lot of different metrics. Our safest drivers are still, the majority of them still are the ones that are getting the most miles.
Wow.
So you stop and think about that. I mean, you can do it safely and get the miles. And I'm telling you, drivers, you will be a lot less stressed at the end of the day. You'll sleep better, the whole works. It just goes hand in hand.
Wow. Well, hey, I thank you for everything you do here, Dale. I know you have a big impact on our influence, or on our actual results, I should say, and no doubt about it. It brings more money into our drivers, but more importantly, we save lives.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything you do here at BCB on the safety side. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have John Ploty here talking about the comforts and safety of our equipment.
Excellent.
My name is Lonnie Payne. My name is Lonnie Payne. I'm a 31-year veteran of the industry. I've got 3 million plus miles under my belt so far. It's just very important to be safe in what we do, in everything we do. My company has a very unique safety culture. It's probably the best that I've ever seen in the industry, anywhere that I've been. They don't just talk about safety, they put things into action for us. I mean, they take it very seriously. It is paramount to everything we do. Protecting life is the most important thing that we do. We come to work with that in mind. When we get behind the wheel, that's the first thing that's in mind. A couple of examples is we have a safety show that the drivers can tune into and sign on to, and we can listen, we can participate in it. They give us a lot of tools to help us be better, become better, help us stay on top of our game. We have videos where we can watch ourselves, critique ourselves, get better.
Round 2, do it. Clank, 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 clank,
Yeah,
clank. Where's the sound effects at, producer?
We love doing it. We love doing it for you because we want to provide you with something that you enjoy, and you get the message of safety. And we got to do it, and we want to make sure that it's both. I mean, we want this to be a place you want to come to. We want safety to be cool. We want it to congregate here. This is your show. Remember that. This is about you. This is for you. And most of all, this is because of you out there on the road. And we talk about it. You can participate. You can raise your hand. You can send a cool message about how cool I look today. All of these things out there can happen. But we want you to be a part of this program. It's the only way we're going to get better.
me a second. I'm playing something your phone here. Your personal
Hey,
phone.
welcome back here. We're going to have John Pelosi here shortly. He's going to talk a little bit about our equipment and how it provides comfort and safety for our drivers here at BCB. And John, he's been in the business for quite a while. I know he provides a lot of great support for our drivers out there. And John, can you tell us a little bit about your team and what it does to support our drivers here at BCB?
Our equipment team, very seasoned veterans, most all of them, been either mechanics or been in the or a driver. One of them was a driver, or been in the equipment business. Let me rephrase that. Been working in an equipment department for years. So knowledgeable. Everybody's pretty good as far as what we do. Keeping the trucks going, getting them back on the road when they do break down, directing them to a location, working with that location to resolve the issue as quick as possible, etc. You know, time is money to drivers because time is miles. So miles are money. So sooner we can get them back on the road, the better.
I know you use a lot of love connections out there for our contractors. Many times they get stuck out there on the road trying to find a good place to get connected with to work on their truck, and sure enough, our equipment team goes to the rescue.
Yeah, and the contractors don't have to feel like they're on an island alone. You know, it's like, yeah, they're the owner, they're the ones paying the bill, or if they have funds in their equipment account, you know, to help take care of those issues. We actually will go to work on a contractor's truck, helping them out just like we would on a company truck, trying to get resolution to whatever that issue is as soon as possible, get them back on the road the same way.
And you know, that's a huge deal.
If they want it.
Yeah.
I mean, some guys got their own places,
Right.
they got their own mechanic, they like how things are done, whatever. They want to be the one in all control and conversations with the vendor shop. And that's fine. You can do that on your own, or, you know, we can help you. Your choice. You know?
Well, you know what? I know from personal experience with some of our contractors that your knowledge, understanding what shop rates are available out there, can make a big difference in the bottom line of that contractor.
Yeah, and even so, more so probably than shop rates. Yeah, in certain shops we do get a little better rate than you're going to get coming in off the road, without a doubt. But we also, one of the benefits of that is more so in our parts pricing, for example, as what you would have again as a solo guy coming in off the road trying to get that, because they're going to want to charge you full list kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
and we get price breaks on that. I mean, no different than fuel or whatever. You know, if you're buying fuel under our account, getting it through Love's, etc., you're going to get those benefits as well. So.
Well, John, could you take a minute here and share the type of equipment that BCB company drivers might expect to receive?
Yeah, our oldest truck is a 2020. Our oldest company truck's a 2020, and some of those are going to be going away later this year as we get new equipment in. So won't be long. We'll be out of the 2020s, but we have. The majority of our company trucks are Volvos. We do have some Kenworths that we brought into the fleet as an option. You know, it's good to have not all your eggs in the same basket. Mm-hmm. So we've kind of mixed that fleet up a little bit. But we got I want to say, I have to look at the number. I think there's 13 2020 Volvo 760s left. And then all the other Volvos are the 860s, a little bigger cab, etc. Very much spec similar, horsepower, transmission wise. They're all automatics. Everything's kind of gone automatic this day and age. There, Dover's pulling up, opening up a Kenworth. We got pictures of a Kenworth coming up there. So that's one of our 2022 or 23s. I don't know exactly which unit number that is because we have some of each on the Kenworth, sure, as well as some more coming in, more Volvos coming in, etc. So we have the vast majority of our Volvo fleet is all 860, so it's a big cab. That picture you're looking at right there, that is the one on the left with the deer bumper. The deer bumpers are going to be kind of a standard thing going forward. Very simple. You a couple of levers, it folds down. You open the hood. It's easy.
Right.
My daughter can open that things up,
Cool.
without much work. So that's kind of the truck equipment. Lots of safety devices that are built into these trucks. If there's a safety device that's available, we're specing it. Everything from forward collision, lane departure, even some simple things from a safety standpoint of we have air release fifth wheel. It helps with kind of some shouldering. Some of those times you can't get that fifth wheel unlocked. So we've gone to some things like that. And some of that is, yes, it's a driver comfort, but it's also a safety issue because less of the injuries. So any of that we can do is kind of the spec that we have. So everything that can be put on it from a safety piece of equipment is on them.
Okay. Well, hey, John, since our drivers spend both working and sleeping hours in these trucks, maybe you could share what a new driver might expect regarding assigned equipment.
Again, back to Volvos. I mean, there's so much what I call cubby spaces. Little compartments, doors open. You can store stuff. I mean, everybody, because you are spending so much time in it. Everybody likes to carry things with them, right? Because no different than what you have at the house or whatever. You got drawers, cupboards, cabinets, whatever, to keep things in. Very much so with the trucks as well. We do have upper and lower bunks in everything. Not to say that everything's a team truck, but that's just the way we're specing them. All of our trucks have APUs on them of some kind of what I'm going to call climate comfort in the truck. The earlier ones, the 2020, the early 20s are an electric APU. Everything since then has been a diesel-fired APU. We run carriers. They do well both in the heat and in the cold. So those, we've had real good luck working with those. I mean, just like anything else, something can go wrong, which is the whole purpose of my department. If something's going to go wrong, we're going to fix it. So if things never broke, we wouldn't need my department. But we all know better than that.
Well, John, you're going to get a bonus question here.
Okay.
What do you like most about working here at BCB?
Everybody is. I've heard the term "we're family" around here. I mean, BCB is family. It is family. It's team. It's everybody. Kind of equate it to a. This goes back to my old heritage, but equate it to a team of horses that are all pulling at the same time to get the plow through the ground or something like that. Everybody's working in the same mode or the same flow, same direction. Doesn't matter what department it is. All departments interact well together. If there's an issue, I'm on the phone with a driver about something with equipment or one of my guys, it doesn't matter. And there's something that comes up about another department, in that conversation. We're going to go to that driver's help or assistance in getting to that department. So he doesn't have to waste his time making another call. We'll take care of it. I'll go talk to them, But BCB is very, very extremely safety conscious.
Core value. It's our core value.
Absolutely. And honesty and integrity is very, very strong thing just in its nature here in BCB.
Sure.
It's a good place. It's a good people. It's a good place to come to work. I'll just put it that way.
Well, John, thank you for taking some time to share a little bit about the equipment and what the drivers can expect. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with David Dover, who's over our Success Fleet.
Success Fleet.
Back to commercial break. Well, welcome back. And guess who we have here? We have David Dover, who's over our success fleet here at BCB. But before I get started, David, I would like for you to tell us a little bit about that shirt you're wearing.
By the way, this is right here is a sign that demonstrates caution, road work ahead. Usually indicates so that you know to slow down, be cautious in a work area, in a work environment, so that other people can be safe and while you're out there on the road. I pretty much wear one of these signs every day, a different sign, right?
Yes, that's awesome.
I wear one every single day. I got about 100 different shirts with about 100 different road signs, all types of signs, just not only for recognition, but also to generate conversation.
Now, where else can you go working and see somebody have a different shirt every day?
That's me. I'm
There's
trying to
your
help
sign.
out, trying to generate conversation around safety.
And there's your sign.
There's your sign. Okay,
Yes.
now I like it. What did you got?
Okay, well, we're going to ask you a few questions and see if you can help us understand a little bit about how operations
Okay.
makes our drivers successful. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
And first one, can you share a little bit about our customer base and how BCB uses its customer base to service our drivers both financially and for home time commitments?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it's really important to understand that here at BCB, we're about 97% customer freight. That what we run. So
Right.
the main majority of what we run is customer based. That means we've actually gone out, have contracts in place with the customers, and what that does is set many things. Number one, it establishes set lanes so that we can create good running routes for the drivers. Also,
Right.
good running routes so that we not only have a load out, but we have a load back. Right.
Right.
Or we have a load to somewhere else that may have a load. We've worked those in place during our bid process and during our allocation of freight. We did that with these customers so that it helped benefit us. Number two, we have and one of the things that helps the drivers, we have a working relationship with these customers, which means that they expect to see BCB drivers there.
Right.
And what it does is it allows us to have good communication. If there's an issue or a problem, we can rectify some of those things. Hey, it's not really good to be going into door 23, right? Because door 23 doesn't seem to be, it's really hard for us. So we have a chance to call the customer and talk to them and say, hey, look, door 23 is not as easily as serviceable by our most professional drivers. Is there anything we can do about it? Absolutely.
Right.
So what those things do is they give us better opportunities, make it better for all of us. And then lastly, I think it's very important, is that drop freight increases dramatically. We have preloaded trailers. We have trailers that you drop in the customers. I mean, it's not that we don't deliver freight and it's not that we don't pick up freight. We do, but a larger customer base with drop trailer opportunities gives us a little bit more, a little bit better opportunity to allow the driver to maintain his productivity throughout the week.
Right. And that you bring up a great point there, David. When you go in with an empty and you pick up a loaded trailer that's already sealed, and you could take that bill of lading and ask them to right there and then put shipper load and count and sign off on that. Look at what you just eliminated. You eliminated the possibility of a claim being charged back to you. You reduced it tremendously, unless you just have a huge boo-boo out there.
And beyond that, let's just talk to the driver himself. And for me, having been a driver, what you're doing is you're eliminating that load time.
Yes.
That getting stuck
Time
over
is
there.
money,
Yeah.
yes.
You get there a little bit early. You have to wait for your time to load. Or if you got there a little bit late, you got to make sure you worry about it. Eliminates a lot of that stress for the driver, knowing that he's just dropping and hooking and going. And what that does is that allows that driver to plan his day better.
Yeah.
It allows that driver to know kind of what he's doing and where he's going to go and how he's going to run. There's a lot. It actually takes a lot of stress from the driver when we have those kinds of opportunities for the driver.
Right. Well, and that's just you think about it. If that's the way you're starting off your week, what a way to start off your week.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're already grab and go, and you don't have to wait until they open. Right. I mean, it's a loaded trailer. Just go get it and get out there early and be fresh when you get there.
Yeah. Just think about carrier A and carrier B. And carrier B, you're going somewhere where you have to wait for them to load that trailer.
Yeah, and I'm not saying we don't do that.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not saying we don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but I will tell you that a lot of our freight is at one point or another on either the back end or the front end is going to be a drop trailer.
Yes.
Okay. And that's great for the driver.
Yes. We don't have Scott Shapiro here today, but one of his famous responses is trust the process.
Yeah, I think that's necessary in that the trust in the process is the idea that we're doing it routinely and that we're creating these processes that are successful for the drivers. And what that means is we want to know we pretty much run everything based upon when the driver is going to be ready for the next load, their projected time availability. And what we do is that we try to make sure that that driver's set, ready to go, and has his load to go into the next time. We try to do that. That's the process. I think we do a very good job of that.
Right.
And I think that as long as we're striving to make that possible for every driver, it's going to benefit. Not only that, home time, right? Running areas,
right.
Things that make it better for the driver themselves. Because I'll tell you, as we sit here and we talk,
yes,
and one of the few things that I've learned in operations more than anything else, especially all my time with drivers, is that I've learned that the formula for success is different for each individual.
Yes.
Because their idea of because let's put it this way, there might be a dad who needs every other weekend.
Right.
Because he needs the whole weekend.
Right.
Because he's an every other weekend guy.
Sure.
So he needs those weekends to see his kids.
Absolutely.
But that's not everybody, right?
No.
Some guys need to be at a certain location at a certain time, and whatever that is, if those are important to the driver, they have to be important to us to be successful.
Right.
So that those things tie into everything that we do, especially when we plan. So when we plan trucks and loads, and we plan drivers on these loads, we ensure many things when we do that, and those things tell us where they can and can't run, what they can and can't do, what they should and shouldn't do, and by the way, am I going to get him back in time to do what he needs to do on his time off event? So those things are all playing into in an operational ideology on what's going on every time we plan a driver.
Yeah, and you know what? Speaking of planning, there's a saying: begin with the end in mind. And truly, here at BCB, we do begin with the end in mind as far as planning is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, the whole premise is that we understand you have a window of opportunity with every driver every week. Drivers have 70 hours to trade 4 miles.
Right.
That's what they have to trade. That's what they're given. That's by law. That's how we work it. Right. We trade those work hours in a 70-hour week. We trade those to generate income, not only for us, but for the driver itself. So I think that as long as we understand maintaining that in our decision-making process with these guys, it will help them not only benefit them financially, it'll benefit them home time.
Oh, yes.
It'll benefit them in so many different ways. And what will happen in the long run is it'll benefit BCB, and it'll benefit the family. And you know what? It'll benefit us all.
David, I introduced you, over our success fleet. Can you tell us a little bit about your role in that and how you make our drivers successful that way?
Yeah, that there are challenges when we see times when drivers don't become productive, and we want to go after those moments. We want to find ways in which to be better at whatever we do. And I think the idea is that we try, and the success fleet is to make every driver successful.
Right.
So, and I think the idea is to be better at what we do, create great processes, and then better understand what mistakes we made to not be successful and try not to make them again. Because you know what, if you continue to do the same thing over and over and expect a different result, that's going to be a little crazy, right?
And David, I see you go over all these drivers, and the way I would define what you do, you define the gaps and you fill those gaps.
Try to.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea is to make a difference, right?
Yes,
and that's what we're trying to do. Not only because if a driver's not successful here, then what did we do wrong?
Right.
Because everything about what we do here is to make a driver successful. So we have to figure out what we do wrong, create that wrong, and make it right, and find and maintain that success, right? Maintain the right way, because it's so easy to get right back into the same bad patterns if you don't fight and struggle to do it better.
Right. Oh, that's cool. So here's a question here. We've been working for some time now together, and what do you think are the unique benefits drivers enjoy working here at BCB Transport?
Wow. I first and foremost, I've been a driver a long time, and I'm going to tell you the community that's created here by what we have, a safety program and a safety show, and some of the different programming opportunities that we have here, that drivers can become more involved in what we do every single day. I have never had the opportunity to be as engaged on a daily basis with every driver as I do here at BCB Transport. To me, that is fundamentally different than any other company. You know, most of the time, or back in the day, you just gave a dispatch and call me when you get there, right? It's no longer just that. It's beyond that. It's I want to know, I want to continue I want to make you better at what you do. I want you to be better at what you do. And by making you better, guess what? I get better.
Right.
And then we all get better. Everybody evolves better. And by the way, this BCB, be safe, is the first name in our business. Be safe, communicate, be on time if you can. Be safe. That's what we're all going to do here first.
Right.
And it's not just in the name, it's what we do here. And by the way, I think here our community is way different than anywhere else.
You know what? I've had various guests here today, and every guest talks about being safe as a core value.
That's absolutely a core value here.
We're consistent in our message, aren't we?
Yeah, and I don't think. And by the way, I didn't hear what anybody else said in your deal, so nobody. I had no way of knowing, and they didn't hear me. So, but I think it's important that every driver that we talk to is that I genuinely rarely care what's in the box. I care about what's in the cab. And the reason is because the guy in the cab or the gal in the cab is always going to take care of what's right behind them.
Right.
They're always going to take care of that. Right. And as long as I take care of them, they'll take care of that.
Right.
And everything will work out.
Yes.
But you got to take care of who's in the cab, and then worry about what's in the box.
Take care of your business will take care of you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Hey, David, can you stand by for a little bit? We need to go to a commercial break. We're going to have a little Q&A session. I thought you might like to
answer questions.
See if we have a few questions.
That'll work.
Let's go to the break. Well, welcome back. We're here to answer any questions you might have. Kayla, do we have any questions out there?
Hi. We do have some questions. I was able to jot them down while you guys were speaking. The first question I have is, does BCB Transport have both inward and outward facing cameras? What kind of camera system do you use?
Currently, right now, we have outward-facing cameras only that basically view what the driver sees. Basically, sees the same thing the driver sees out the front windshield. And those those are running. But in case there's an event, will it trigger something that will send a message back to us? But most of the time, it's just running in the background like anything else, and only when something is triggered an event like maybe an accident or a hard break or anything like that would trigger the event to kick us a message and to say, hey, look at this video.
Awesome. Another question.
Great. Our next question is, what should a small carrier be doing in this slow economy currently?
Man, you know, Dave, I know you've been in business. I think first of all, it's just really understanding your money. Start off understanding your money, where you're spending it. What is your largest expense and how do you reduce it?
Yeah, I think, I agree. There's so many aspects to this, but I not only understand your business, but also understand the market.
Yes.
Because right now the market is different than it's kind of moved back because we had such a elevated, inflated market last year and the year before as we moved through COVID. And
extremes, very big extremes.
Yeah, and what happened was none of us could make mistakes in the business,
right?
Because we were all there was no. I mean, it was just you could easily do anything wrong and still make money,
right?
And I think what's happened now is that if you built your business model on that, you're going to have problems,
right?
Because that's not how the market is,
right?
Also, secondly, I think it's really important is that you understand, like you said, Brian, is that you try to figure out what your expenses are, what the biggest are, and minimize those costs as best you can.
Well, you know, one of the things that I'm feedback I'm getting back from some of the contractors that started in that market where the rates were high, the fuel was low. I mean, you couldn't help but make money. And now that we have the opposite happening, you know, the rates are low, fuel's high, and if you keep all the expenses the same, you just can't make money. And so that's why it's so important to really understand your expenses, you know, what your expenses are, so you can make it in these tough times. And quite frankly, I agree with you wholly on understanding your market and how it relates to those expenses.
Yeah, I you know, look, I'm just going to be honest with you. To run a business, a successful business in the market, you have to prepare for the unforeseen situations. I mean, because sure, on a perfect sunny day, out there running, running with the wind, with a light load, on a high-paying load, that's the most ideal of circumstances.
Right.
Anybody out there running today knows that's not what happens on a daily basis.
Right.
You will run and you will find difficulties, and in fact, there may be times when you can't run because of you have an equipment problem or what have you, and those finances bite into you as well.
Sure.
So I think it's very important that you understand the market, you understand your place in the market, and you understand where. And I'm telling you right now, create a budget.
Yes.
And create a target, because if you can't, if you figure your budget out and what you're doing, and you can never get past the red line, you're in it. You're in a problem.
Right. And you know what? Understand your expenses. I'm going to say, David, and I'm also going to say understanding cash flowing your business correctly. You know, if you're a fleet owner, you know what happens to a lot of fleet owners a lot of times because they're not cash flowing their business correctly, especially with fuel. Everybody's getting paid but the fleet owner because all the profits in the tank at the end of the week.
Yeah, there is a lot of, you know, and there is money there in the tank. It's I get it. Fuel, and by the way, fuel costs are up. They continue to rise. 7 weeks.
Yes.
7 weeks they're, and I don't foresee them coming down in the market. And I think that honestly, you've got to look at that as a realistic problem and a realistic expense. Yeah. What else you got? Anything else, Kayla?
We have one more question. What specific qualifications or experience are you looking for when you're recruiting for drivers?
Boy, your big safety. It starts with safety.
Starts with safety and ends with safety. That's what we do here at BCB Transport. We're looking for safe, qualified drivers with 2 years of basic, 2 years of over-the-road experience. We're looking for the best of the best. We want to put you with the best of the best. We want to bring you on board with the other team members that are good. And some of the best drivers out there. We want you to share the road with them, and we want you to want to excel with them, because that's what we do here.
And you know what? The best want this environment.
Yes.
They really, truly want this environment. They enjoy this environment. They're comfortable with this environment.
Yeah. And I'm just going to tell you right now, if you're at a company that isn't protecting you or worried about you, and they're only worried about the freight delivering on time, you don't need to be with that company. Because I'm telling you right now, what's important is you and how you act out there on the road and how you are going to be home every time you need to be.
Right.
And the only way to do that is to be safe. Right, Brian?
That's right.
I want you to get home, man. You have no idea. In our heart of hearts here, you're making it out of this alive is the most important thing to us, above all others, above profit, above. I'm telling you, it is not a story. It is the way we do. It is the way.
Right.
It is the way. Have you heard that? Have you seen that show? It is the way.
It is the way.
I don't know if you've seen that. It's the Mandalorian. It is the way.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, listen. It's been great. Any more questions before we close?
That's what I have for right now, Brian.
Okay, well, I want to thank everyone for attending today. If you are truly interested in joining the BCB team, very easily, you can click on one of our links. Go to our website, bcbtransport.com, bcbtransport.com, or feel free to call our recruiting line at 817-634-2221. 817-634-2221. That's BCB1. BCB1.
All right, there you go. Hey, everybody, have a great, wonderful, and safe day out there every single day.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye, everybody.